great. Okay, we have to act quickly. I want to fit these all into one part each. Doo-doo-doo. Sharpshooter, Freddy Cat. No. Do we slug it? You see my farm is chugging along nicely. I didn't get Slugger, so I'll just use something else. I'll probably use maybe the Sword and Shield. Although, then again, I think I already have a Sword and Shield video up. Well, in any case, I have to splice in the story at some point. I might do that right now, or I might do that later. I'm not sure how many of you are actually actively watching this and, like, following the story. I can't imagine too many of you. Here's the story. Monsters. They're bad. Gotta kill them. Although not all the monsters are bad. I think some of them are just like kind of misunderstood and territorial. It's not really their fault. Just trying to stay alive. Let's see here. That is pretty much good. Right? I'll grab another max potion. May as well. Essentially unlimited resources at this point. As long as you stay on top of that farm, you'll never have any issues. Right, and Slider and Fighter, both completely useless. That's okay. Now, the tactics for the Longsword on the Barioth are going to be very similar to actually the tactics I was kind of doing with the Greatsword. In that it's mostly going to be hit-and-run maneuvers, except this time, you know, that's what you're supposed to be doing. You know, working as intended. And I forget if I mentioned it yet, but the Legiacrus armor is also fairly decent for the fast-hitting weapons. However, if you're using an actual, like, Rathalos weapon, they generally have, like, really high sharpness, so that skill is kind of wasted. The actual sharpness skill that you get from the Legiacrus armor is really best suited for weapons that have, like, really small sharpness gauges of a higher level of sharpness. Such as if you've got, like, a couple slivers of blue or a couple slivers of white or purple. That's really when it's really powerful. Otherwise, Speed Sharpener is just as good. Let's see if he's going to show up here. I hope he does. Let's toot the horn a little bit more. It doesn't always work. But you're better off doing it than not doing it. Let's see. Where's he going to go? Come on. Come on. Yeah. That's right. Okay, and just at the end of the bloom, right around here, maybe, sort of, kind of. Usually it's close enough that you can at the very least hit him with the bombs, and you've already laid down the trap, and that's usually the hardest thing to do when he's like flying around trying to kill you. I kind of forgot to take my rations. That's bad. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oops. That was bad. I mean, not that bad. More of like an inconvenience. Again, I'm feeling a little sick today. A little distracted. But I'll pull through. I'm not doing that badly. I mean, that was a pretty decent time with the Greatsword. And of course, I would much rather be attacking him in the face. But right now, I really just want to start getting my gauge up. Something smart I could have done which I did not do, was build my gauge up a little bit with the baggies. By the way, if you're at the very end of his tail, I mentioned this before, that scream will not reach you. However, that's kind of hard to hit him while staying in place with the longsword. You can kind of do it with a lance or something like that. Ooh. Uh-oh. Now, always roll towards him, because generally you'll, like, you know, roll, like, directly underneath his leg. Something of the sort. Yeah, I gotta be careful, because my gauge is actually going down. Oh no! Man, those attacks come out fast. I'm probably going to be KO'd. Yes, I am. No. Come on, win. Oh, come on! We're in bad times. No, I will not give up. That's not how I roll. So nerve-wracking! And, like, I'm, like, so, like, impatient, too. I'm like, I demand full spirit gauge all the time. Oh, God. Just heal! Why aren't you healing? This is a terrible idea. Thank you, Baggy. There we go. Okay. There we go. Everything's right as rain. You can trade for Kelby horns with the captain, I think. I think that's how I got them. There's actually a lot of things you can trade for the captain with offline that are, you know, pretty useful that, you know, don't show up all that often online. Like, that's how I got all of my pitfall traps. I don't farm for spider webs or anything like that, or at least, you know, I don't farm for them consistently. I just do a whole bunch of trading with the captain. And if you're on top of your fish farm... Oh, he's already running away. Well, if you always stay on top of your fish farm, you should have, like, a ton of armorfish morsels. And I think 12 armorfish morsels trade for 5 pitfall traps. So, yeah, do that. Alright. Well, if ever we are going to cut a tail off, it's going to be right now. That was pure luck. That's all that was. One of the cats, and not... Of course, there's no feline helper in this. One of the cats actually caused him to flinch, I think. I didn't even know they did damage. I guess they do. They must do just like the tiniest bit of damage. I have to be careful. His tail goes out really far. I forget what the range on that little ice spray is. I forget if it's good or not. In case, you know, it wasn't obvious, all the attacks in the spirit combo, was he exhausted? Possibly. Probably. I can't tell. Yes. Okay, let's get him in this. No! Alright. Most attacks that come out exhausted have, like, they work, they just have, like, the tiniest range in the world. I guess he's one of the few monsters where they just don't do anything. And of course this is the absolute most ideal scenario, full spirit gauge while he's stuck in a trap like that. Okay, we've completed all the subquests, we've done a fair amount of damage. We're gonna dive right through that. Little attack there. I'm gonna be able to unleash on his face a little bit more. Good. Oh man. That last spirit combo just does like so much damage once it comes out in full force like that. And you're still exhausted. Oh man. I almost feel bad. I mean, not too bad. Yeah, thank God he's got that enormous tail. Okay, where's he going, Cha-Cha? 4, 2, 1, 2. Okay. Again, I'd kind of like to capture him. Where is it? I'm just gonna throw a trap down right here. I don't know that he's actually gonna land on it. Or even be near it. Maybe I'll attack his tail a little bit. Hey! I actually got one off. Good. Good, good, good. Over here, buddy. Perfect! And I'll even let you guys enjoy the capture animation for what it's worth. Funny note about the Longsword. It's the weapon I used most when I was fighting the Rathalos. And towards the end, I was just so sick of capturing him. I was just doing these tail runs. Now, at that point in time, when you're fighting him in a level-appropriate way, your two choices of longswords are the Legiacrus, the Thunderclap, the unupgraded Thunder Longsword, and actually his longsword, because if you killed him once, you can make it pretty quickly. And I actually ended up using the Rathalos longsword because it has a much larger green sharpness bar and higher raw power. And in the case of cutting his tail, all that really matters is raw damage. And so generally I would cut his tail, and then very quickly be able to break his face, and then after I got the tail carve, if he didn't drop any shinies, I would just run all the way back to camp and finish via subquest. And I got a decent amount of rewards. I got the claw, of course. Oh, 2 claws. Really ideal. And I ended up getting 1 plate from breaking the face, 1 plate from capture, and 1 plate from a tail carve. That was the order.